Hey guys, it's Sturgeon77 bringing you a rundown on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD, an Xbox Live Arcade release for $15. It's part of the Summer of Arcade promotion. This is like a revisiting of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 and kind of a combination of the two in some interesting and weird ways. We'll see. Let's get into it here. You've got a mix of old and new when it comes to the skaters. You got Tony Hawk, Rodney Mullen. I'm guessing this girl has something to do with Travis Pastrana, Eric Costin, Andrew Reynolds. Not sure. Like, I actually didn't really play as many other skaters in the original game other than Tony Hawk because his name was on the box and that was awesome. But there's Chris Cole. I don't remember if he was in the original. Riley Hawk certainly was not. Jake Harrison, do not remember him. He's a very small guy too. Remember her. And this is awesome. I just unlocked this. That's pretty sweet. I'll be using him. And, you got, like, your Abyss Heart and stuff. So, they don't have, guys like Bam and stuff like that in here. It's not like that's a huge concern to me. It's just a little bit different. But, you might be missing your favorite. Just know that. So let's go ahead and get in here. It's very similar to the original Tony Hawk, whereas... you just have career objectives. Let's go ahead and start at the warehouse. We'll get into the level selection in just a bit. But you have career objectives. So it's stuff like, high score, pro score, all this stuff. A lot of them are the exact same as they used to be, and some of them are new. So let's go ahead and get in here. Now, I actually spent more time with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 than I did with 2. So it's cool to be able to play, like the warehouse and stuff with the manual included. But yeah, this is just, it's kind of, I don't know, like I just said, you have like the manual from 2, but they don't go as far as like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 to where you have like the revert and stuff. I think that's understandable considering that these levels weren't really built with that in mind. And once you add the revert to the mix, honestly, it's kind of just go all out from there. Like, really, you can create the most crazy combos ever, and that's cool. I actually spent a lot more time with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 than I did with 2. I might have spent, no, I probably spent the most time with 1. I don't really remember. It's been so long. So, like, they're not really taking much inspiration from that, though. I think that they're going to be doing DLC. I'll talk about that a little bit later. That will bring the revert into the mix, and will also, add Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 levels and stuff. But for now, this is just 1 and 2, and it's got a lot of features from both of them together, coming together and make this interesting package. Let's see. I don't remember what the K is. So let me go ahead and show this. I might as well. If you press start, you have this map here, and if you press right bumper, it actually tells you where everything is in the level. Now, the map is not very good because, first of all, it doesn't really tell you where you're at, and second of all, it won't tell you, like, let's say I got the S, obviously I have, it won't go away. So it helps, but it doesn't completely guide you in the right direction. It's kind of a weird thing because I wouldn't want a map that told me where everything was super easily, but at the same time, this is kind of a shitty map. So I don't really know. I don't really know if it works for me or it gets me, but I guess it's nice to have. They also have a map that has all the gaps here. And I think that's pretty cool. It's kind of easy just to be able to look, but like there's tons of gaps in the original games I didn't even find. So to be able to see this and say like, okay, this is exactly how you have to do it. It's just a matter of doing it. It's cool. It almost like adds like 20 extra just challenges that you can knock off. Some of them I've had a lot of trouble activating, so I'm not really sure if that's just me messing them up or it's just kind of glitching out. I'm not sure. Okay, so I just got skate, all that jazz, all this good stuff. I'm used to my guy having everything maxed out, so this is kind of weird. Oh, but yeah, like when it comes to how it plays, it feels really great. Like it feels a whole lot like the original Tony Hawk. Like I don't know exactly how they're emulating it or whatever, but I feel like they've really recaptured a lot of basically the entire gameplay perspective of Tony Hawk 1 and 2. There's a few things here and there that, like I said, I have not played the original games in a really, really long time. So, besides when I tried to do the Let's Play of Tony Hawk 1. But there's a few things here and there that's kind of weird. But I'm not sure if that's just from it being from the original game, or if it's from it, being just buggy in this new game. But there's a couple things I certainly know are a little buggy in this new game. So after you get some cash, you can upgrade your stats and stuff. I guess I'll put some stats into this guy's air, because his air sucks. And some hang time, and some air, and some hang time, and some air. Okay, sure. And you can go to the skate shop. You can buy special tricks that you can fill out your guy with. You can have up to 5. You can buy boards. They don't affect your stats or anything as far as I can tell. But, if you want a cool board, go ahead. And you can even buy grab tricks and flip tricks and all that. But let's go ahead and grab Tony Hawk here, because he's all maxed out, all these levels. And I'll go ahead and run through some of the levels. Now, the thing is, with the level selection, there's a lot of good levels in here. School 2 is a great level. Warehouse obviously had to happen. A hangar, the mall, which I personally kind of like. It's a pretty cool downhill level. Venice Beach, good level. Downhill Jam, and Marseilles, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, a great level. Let's go ahead and get to School 2. Now, the thing is, I've completed all the objectives from here. I just kind of want to show off the level. But the thing is that it's kind of weird. I don't necessarily think that the level selection is bad. There's a lot of good levels in there. Like this one right here, School 2 is a really good level. But I just feel like that they either needed more, or they either needed to replace a few. Like, I honestly just do not understand why Hangar is in the game. It's basically Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2's warehouse. The layout is almost the exact same, and I don't know. I mean, it's cool. It's got a cool couple of things in there. You can make the helicopter take off. You can do all that cool stuff. But it's just, I would much rather have seen, like, San Francisco streets, or, something like that. I don't know. It's been a really long time. I can't really think of all the levels off the top of my head. But I just feel like when I'm playing levels like Hangar and even like Downhill Jam, I just feel like there could have been something better here. I don't know what it is, but there could have been something better here. And the fact that it's just still there, it's just, I don't know. It's strange. And, it's not like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 was loaded with a lot of good levels. Like, there were entertaining levels, but the really good levels came from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 and 3, I believe. So it's kind of hard, because it's like you could replace the hangar, but with what? And the only thing I could really think of would be like San Francisco, or maybe New York. I don't really remember New York very well. But I don't know. I just feel like if they were going to put in levels like the hangar, then they needed more levels. And if they weren't going to put in levels like the hangar, then they should have been better. So it's just kind of a thing to where this is a really cool thing, and this whole idea is really neat. Bring Tony Hawk back where he needs to be. This is where the games have always been the best and always been the funnest. But instead of it, being like a 100% comeback, like, oh my God, everything about this is exactly what I want from a Tony Hawk's HD release, it's a little less than that. It's a little more like, well, I wish that they would have did this, or I wish that they would have did this. And the levels are kind of, to me, the big point of that. And that would have been solved if they would have just taken inspiration from Tony Hawk 3 right off the bat. But they decided not to do that. I mean, to me, I just feel like Tony Hawk 3 is packed with tons of awesome levels, like Suburbia and the airport and Canada. And they're, like I said, they're doing DLC. I'm just going to start running through these levels. They're doing DLC, I think, that involves Canada, the airport, and one more, I don't remember, for I believe $5. And those will have the revert available in them and everything, and it'll be like Tony Hawk 3. But, I mean, it's not like I think $15 is a bad price for this, but I don't know. I just feel like this could have had a bigger impact. Like, this is cool and all, and I'm having fun with it, and I'm enjoying the gameplay, because I don't really have an easy way to play Tony Hawk lately. And I'm enjoying the gameplay. I grabbed all the objectives and everything from the other levels, but there's just something about it that I wish there was more. Like I said, it's kind of hard to debate, because when I think of the levels, it's kind of hard for me to think of other levels I would want to replace them with. But at the same time, when I look at this level list, I'm just like, man, like, I just constantly, a lot of times when I'm looking at it, I'm just like, is this it? Like, there's no more? Like, look at this. This is the hangar. Like, this is over here. All this section over here is pretty much the only difference from it and the warehouse. You got this little section here. That's cool. There's a secret DVD out there and stuff. Oh yeah, by the way, the VHS tapes are replaced with DVDs. Like that's any less primitive, but it's you know, whatever. It's not a big deal. It was really weird at first, but it's not a big deal. You can also open this little section over here in the hanger if I can grind it. If you grind that little nose propeller, then we'll open up another little section over here. But just this level just doesn't feel necessary, and the fact that like this is squeezed into only 7 levels is really strange. But yeah, anyway, that's the hanger. You know, that's how it goes. And each level, you know, has a ton of objectives to complete, and some of them get really hard. You know, the 6 scores without reverts and stuff. Can you have to really set up a nice street line, or you have to just kill a vert? And you know, it's difficult stuff, just like it was in the original. I mean, as far as I can remember. But you know, that's all here. I'm just saying, like, if you want to play Tony Hawk, if you haven't played Tony Hawk in a long time and you really want to play Tony Hawk, then you're gonna be like, okay, cool. Like this will probably work for you just fine. But if you're someone that like really is like looking forward to this as like maybe a exciting revisiting of Tony Hawk, like to the point where you like kind of a celebratory type thing, I feel like you really might be a little bit disappointed. Like not enough to where I don't think that you should purchase it, because if you really want to play Tony Hawk, even if that's kind of how you're looking at it, then this does a good job at that. But it could have been something more, I feel like, and I just don't quite get there. But it's still a lot of fun, and there's some other changes to it. Overall, like the soundtrack, half of it's new, half of it's old. I feel like that the new stuff that they added in fits in pretty nicely with the rest of the stuff. I can't really hear the music right now while I'm recording, but there's only a few songs I can think of that I was just like, I really don't like that. One song was it was like "We the People." I'm not sure if I like that. I don't think it fits in very well, and I don't remember if this song was in the original or not. There's a song called "Teenage Blood" that I just, oh god, man, I really hate whenever that song comes on. It's probably my least favorite one on the track. But they've got a lot of, you know, good songs from the original. They got Superman. They've got Close But No Cigar. They've got you know, a lot of good stuff in there that you'll definitely be like, oh yeah, I totally remember listening to this 100 times. But it's also a very short set list. It's very short, and you'll hear the same songs a lot. Like you will hear Superman, and then probably less than 10 minutes later you will hear Superman again. Like maybe not probably, but it's definitely possible. I think that it's just set on shuffle, and like not a shuffle to where it's like everything has to play once. Like Superman can play, and then another song can play, and if the shuffle demands it, then Superman can play again. Like I'm pretty sure that's how the shuffle works. Ow. So yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I don't really think it'll affect you too much, but it's just like this whole thing is just a little strange. Like it knows what it is. Like it knows it is a classic Tony Hawk game, but at the same time, it feels like it's really reaching out to a new fan base. Like it's really wanting to catch up with the times, you know, like we've got new music, and we've got, you know, this and that, and like, you know, HD graphics, and new skaters that you would recognize, like the Pastrana Girl or Riley Hawk or whatever. But then, you know, the other half of it's just like this old school game that really hasn't been changed much at all. I don't know. It's just weird. Like I would have been fine with them just leaving everything as is. And I mean, they kind of did, but they didn't. They didn't really need to change the soundtrack, even though it doesn't really bother me that much, or really need to do anything that. It would just been better if they focused on purely recreating the experience and just adding a ton of, you know, stuff around that. I don't know. It's weird. It's just like it's just weird. This game is cool and I like it, but it almost feels like a completely different game. Like there's just so many little subtle changes all around that it's not necessarily like, hey, this is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater in HD, the one that you remember and love and everything is in HD. It's more like this is a new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater that takes inspiration from the old ones a lot, obviously, you know, to the point where it's recreating the levels. it's just, I don't know. It's really hard to explain. Like, I really like this, and it's no doubt that it recreates Tony Hawk's Pro Skater gameplay very well. It's just it's just strange. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Anyway, they've got online modes and stuff too. We'll get into in a little bit. You got Ollie the Magic Bomb. Then you got Ollie over. Pretty sure you can unlock him as well as Officer Dick. No Spider-Man or anything like that, as far as I can remember. I'm pretty sure, wasn't Wolverine in one of them? I don't remember. It's been so long. But yeah, maybe it's just me like playing a ton of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and kind of, you know, taking that as my standpoint from the series a lot. Like, you know, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 3 were mainly the ones that I put the most time in. But I just feel like the biggest, coolest things from Tony Hawk games, like the tricks, the combos, everything is awesome. Everything is great. But to me, the most defining aspect of a Tony Hawk game is the levels. And I just feel like you know, Tony Hawk 3 had that in spades. Like, they had all this cool stuff that you could do in the levels, and the levels were huge. And there was a lot of secrets to find, and a lot of abilities to, you know, up your trick score. And it's just the fact that this game, at least for now, without paying extra for DLC, has completely, like, turned its back on that stuff, you know, and is just not really taking inspiration from that at all. It's strange, because it's like, it almost seems like a backstep, but it's not a backstep, because they're trying to recreate a certain experience, but that certain experience is a backstep. I don't know. But by moving the series forward too much, then you got into weird situations where nobody wanted to buy the game anymore. I don't know. Tony Hawk is just in a weird place. He's in a weird place, and this, I really do think, is like the best thing for him. But it's still not as good as it could be. Wow, I feel like I'm ragging on this game a lot. It's really fun. I'm liking it a lot. I mean, I wouldn't have completed all the objectives for nothing. Like, you know, there's not really any achievements to do that for. It was just a lot of fun to go back in and want to redo my objectives. Now, Downhill Jam is in this game specifically because Tony Hawk himself said that he wanted the level in the game. This level has a pretty notorious reputation for being hated, and I don't hate it. There are times where I almost even like it, and it's obviously very distinct. But it's just another case where I would have definitely had something else in here, especially if we've already got the mall. Like, you've only got 3 levels from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, the warehouse, the mall, and this, as far as I know. And it's just like, you got more than half of that is being represented by downhill stuff, which is not even really what the Tony Hawk series is about as much. And there's no races or anything involving anything like that, so once you get here down to the bottom, then it just starts you over. I don't know, this level's cool, and I mean, when it comes to distinction, yeah, this level's got it, you know? And it's not really that I should fault them for including that, but it's the same thing when I keep coming back to where it's just like, if you're gonna have levels like this, then I feel like you should have had levels like that, or either, you know, more, just in general. But yeah, I'm falling all over the place right now. But like I said about the DLC, yeah, with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, that's pretty exciting. The revert is right here. See, watch. I can, there it was. It was late. But you can do the revert. It just doesn't do anything for your score in these levels. See, there it is, right there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. They said that once they add the revert in, it still won't affect these levels. And like I said, I'm okay with that. And something is really as simple as just adding a manual to especially these downhill levels, I feel like it really changed the dynamic of a lot of them. Like, you can pretty much combo this entire level if you want to now because of the manual, and it's all downhill, you know, it's a slope. So that's cool. And that gives this level a little bit more of a purpose to me. But it's still Downhill Jam, and it's still annoying as shit a lot of times, and it's still just not exactly what I want when I play Tony Hawk. So here's Marseille. This is a great level. This might be my favorite level from Tony Hawk 2. I played the demo a ton, and I believe this was the level that was in the demo, so I got to know it very well. But this is the last level that's available in this version of the game. And this is just a great level. It's got a nice mix of street and vert, and it looks cool and everything. It's got every level has got everything that you can remember in it, as far as I can remember. For instance, this little wood plot, thing behind this, you hit that, that opens up the secret area that you can go in and feel super special about when you're like 10 years old. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell my friends about this just yet. I'm just gonna show it to them. It's gonna blow their minds. But yeah, it's got all that stuff, you know, and the levels look cool. You know, it's all HD. It all looks cool. I think the game in general looks pretty great. So that's good. But you know, and that's something that certainly needed to happen in this update. But you know, there are other things that I feel like may have been more important. So let me see if I can go ahead and find this little bug that I've definitely been encountering a whole lot in this version of the game. That's basically a level, you know, there's other stuff, there's a lot of bowls. But if I can just get, this happens pretty often, but it might not happen right now. But if I can just get going really high in this bowl and, you know, in some other bowls too, then you'll see the level start kind of jerking out. Like it starts kind of wigging out. And sometimes it'll even mess you up, like almost like teleport you. Okay, Tony Hawk, slow down. Let me see if I can just get really, I'm trying not to curve around. I just want to get really high up there. I'll just keep doing judos or some crap. I don't know. Okay, you can kind of see it right now. Every now and then when I take just a big jump, the level will kind of jank for a second. I don't know why I'm not gaining any more speed right now. Well, it might. Oh, it kind of pulls in almost for a split second there. Let me see if maybe if I can do a special trick or something. I feel like I'm not getting as much air as I was earlier. Well, you can kind of see it. It's jerking around just a little bit. Like when the camera kind of switches to when you go up to get the air, the camera will like kind of jerk a little bit, but it gets a lot worse than that. Sometimes when you get up in the air, the level will just start wigging out below you, and it kind of like teleports him to a different spot, and it's really annoying, and it's really not cool, especially considering this entire game is basically about getting a ton of air and creating lines. So that's not cool at all. So let's go ahead and try to get into a quick match here. There's, I believe, 4 different online modes. There's Trick Attack, Graffiti. Both of those are from the original. There's Big Head Elimination, which is pretty awesome. What it is everybody's head grows, and as it grows, it will start growing. And when you land a trick or a combo, then it'll start shrinking your head. And what you're trying to do is just keep landing tricks and combos where your head does not explode. And it's fun. That's really fun. So I guess I'm being Tony Hawk. I guess we're doing Trick Attack on Marseille. And then there's also just free skate, where you can just skate around and do all that. And that's, you know, that's cool to do with a buddy too. It's fun. It's you know, especially when you first get the game, it's fun to grab all the, you know, secrets and stuff, figure out about all that. So I'm gonna continue just tricking out in here and see if I can show off that bug. I don't really care about winning or losing this, but you can have up to 4 people in a trick attack at once, and you know, in any mode at once actually. So it's fun. It's cool. It's cool to be able to play simple modes, you know, with friends. But I do wish that they would have had horse. I think that that's silly that they don't have horse, because I really loved playing that when I was younger. And they don't have split screen, which is a pretty large bummer. You know, that's kind of a thing these days that like everybody's doing. But it's just a pretty large bummer that this game in particular does not have split screen, because I used to play split screen all the time. And, you know, I don't know. Like I didn't even realize it until a friend was over at my house the other day. I was like, hey, you want to play Tony Hawk? Just assuming that it had split screen, and it totally does not. So that's just lame. I feel like that they could have definitely did it here. It doesn't really seem very excuse worthy. You know, some games, like, they have huge open worlds and stuff. It's a little bit harder to do, but I don't feel like that's the issue here. And I think that it was just kind of laziness, or just, you know, wanting to get the game out in time and working on DLC instead. So that's a bummer. So it looks like that's not gonna really happen to me right now, the bug or whatever. Oh, there it is, there it is. Look at that, look at that. Oh God, that's so gross. Yeah, good. Speak the devil's name and he appears. But Yeah, that's it. It's really silly and kind of stupid, and that happened to me a couple times on some some runs where I was trying to get some really good scores, and if it doesn't, like when it's jerking like that, it's almost like the geometry of the level's moving. So sometimes Tony will land like in a spot where he might not have landed initially, and even if he doesn't do that, just the fact of the level wigging out below you and you trying to find the ramp you want to land on can really be disorienting and not cool. So I don't know, that just sucks. That whole thing, that little issue sucks. And that happens in other levels too. Just it's very noticeable in that one. Let me go ahead and show off the projectives here really quick. Once you beat the game, as far as I can tell, once you get all 100% goals with a single character, then you unlock projectives, which are harder objectives. So let's go ahead and see what the ones in the school are. Second score 200,000, collect 8 skateboards. Okay, land a 70,000. Yeah, sure. All right. So when it says collect combo, you actually have to collect that all in one combo, and they're all spread out throughout the world. They're a little bit different from Skate. But this is cool. You know, it adds stuff that wasn't in the original game. It's very similar stuff that, it's very similar stuff, just get scores and stuff like that. But it's still stuff that wasn't in the original game. So, yeah, and also you only have 1 minute to do them, which is pretty intense. And I keep forgetting about. So, yeah. Projectives. Oh. Yeah, cool. Alright, sweet. Whoa. I did not mean to do that manual. Judo again. There's like collect 8 skateboards and stuff. It's pretty damn difficult. Oh no, don't go over it. Oh, okay. Alright. Damn it. Trying to actually try to get the 6 score a little bit here. But, oh well. Sickest score. Excuse me. Sorry. I was supposed to land on that rail. Let's go to the pool. Let's go to the pool. No. Yeah, anyway. So that's a much harder set of objectives for people that want a little bit more of a challenge. I'm not sure exactly what the reward is yet for doing those, but I think that you'll unlock like cheats and stuff. Which, by the way, there are definitely cheats and stuff in this game. I haven't really used them very much right now, but you can do stuff like Ghost Skater, Dusty Skater, Invisible Skater, all that stuff, perfect rail balance, stuff like that. So that's cool for having in the game and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. When you beat a level in the career 100%, then it will show you. I'm gonna show this guy off just because he's awesome. When you beat a level in the career 100%, then it will show you. Oh man, I can't really show him off because I just did school too. The next highest score on your friends list that is playing. So, where's Rodney? Where's Rodney Mullen? There you are. So let me see. I can't really show you right now, but up at the top right, it will say like, get the sickest score, do this and that. And when you get 100% on all the goals and all the cash, then it will just show a bar leading up to your next friend's, high score. So that's cool, and it, is good for keeping you wanting to play the game. That's important. Oh God, Rodney Mullen, not used to you not getting any air. Jeez, he does not get any air at all. Oh God, he just sucks down to the ground. Yeah, anyway, that's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD. They added in the sloppy and perfect thing from Tony Hawk, I believe, 3, which is just also just weird because it's like some things are taken. They're just like, I don't know. They're trying to craft this game from all 3 of the games. I feel like that I think that they are hoping will end up being better than the original ones, but if they don't do stuff like pack it full of the levels that people want and stuff like that, then it will never be as fondly remembered or as well made as the original ones. That's the thing. So I don't know. That big drop thing, I really hated that at first because it was just killing me all the time, but you can actually stop it. They added that in, and when it happens, you just need to hold down the ollie button, and you'll land the trick. And if you up your landing, it makes those things slowly kind of go away. So it's definitely, it was super annoying to me at first. I was like, why aren't you going to do this? But it definitely becomes way more manageable. You can even ollie, I mean, you can even manual when you land off of 1-2 as long as you're holding the ollie button. So it's cool. It's a little weird, but it's cool. I don't know if I'd say it's cool. What's cool is in like, I don't want to hit it, but it's still kind of an interesting addition. Oh, I need to get that 6-4, man. There we go. Cool. Yeah, that's it. That's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD. It's a mix between like the new and the old, and well, actually, the newer old and the older old, and it's just a strange thing that I'm enjoying, but I'm questioning certain things about. You know, like I'm glad that it got made and everything, but I probably will be getting the DLC, but I just wish there was more. Like, I feel like by now, at the time that we're at, then we should have either had more levels, or either we should have had just all the levels from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. That way I wouldn't even be having this debate in the first place. I mean, you know, that would be something, like re-releasing 1 and 2, like all their levels together in one HD package, you know, adding the manuals in, which I do believe was a good idea. That would have been something, you know, that would have been something that, like, the game is well made when it comes to the gameplay and everything, and how it represents the original. It's well made, but there's stuff about like the levels that's the main thing that keeps me back. The levels and just the overall design of it. I just feel like if they would have just put a little bit more, instead of me saying, yeah, this is an awesome Tony Hawk game, but there's some weird things about it, I could be saying, this is an awesome return to what I love. This is you know, everything that I could need, like all in one package. I don't have to go hunt down, like, you know, what if I want to go play a specific level from Tony Hawk now? Like, I gotta go hunt down the, you know, original game. Like, I don't know. At this day and age, I feel like if they would have put something out like this, it was supposed to be a big thing, you know, like, yeah, it's finally back. Then it should have been like a package to where I could just dig in, you know, just be like, everything's in HD now, everything that you love is here, you know. The only things that we couldn't get in here were for like licensing agreements, like, you know, I'm sure Bam is in totally different stuff now. It's not, and like I said, it's not a big deal for me about him, but there's some other skaters that are missing that I'm sure some people will miss. But that is kind of understandable because of licensing and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they cut some corners in some spots that they shouldn't have did. But it's still cool, and it's still fun. And if you really are itching to play some Tony Hawk, which I kind of was, then this will definitely satisfy you. But you just might be left wanting a little bit more in the end. But anyway, I believe the DLC for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 comes out next month, sometime in August. I think it's $5, and that's kind of reasonable, so I'll probably grab that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope that this kind of summed up a little bit what this, you know, doohickey's about, because it's an interesting little thing. But you can get it on Xbox Live Arcade. Check out the trial if you'd like. It's kind of shitty because it gives you a like 1 minute and 30-second run in the warehouse. I don't know why it just doesn't let you do 2 minutes, but anyway. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.